Let me start the stream up. Okay, hey there. So, on the stream, we're going to be talking about something. Okay, so the stream should be starting right now, and let's talk about the server for the stream. The Discord server, the one that we originally were always on, well, my account got hacked on Discord. That's a shame, a real shame. However, who cares? Who cares about that? Nobody gives a shit. It's bad for me, sure. I don't care. I didn't have a credit card. I didn't have anything. All I had was friends, and they're like, I don't know. I'm just trying to get into contact with a few of them. You know, I already got into contact with one. I just need I'll get into contact later. Regardless, welcome to Celestial Forge. We're gonna be reading. Also, I have no idea why everyone in the general VC, one of the general VCs, is muted. But that's a thing. They just like being muted. Oh, hey, Dark. How you doing? Okay. Now, usually I can't do this. However, because of this, I can... Where is it? I can stream this. Where's the Opera page? I'm trying to find the page on Opera. Is there anything on the screen share that I'm having? Is there anything here? Can you guys see anything? Because I know the stream can.
So far, it's, I see your cursor. That's about it. Oh, now we see it. We got it.
You can see this? The See You in the Dark, Disastrous Life of Sai, whatever. How do you pronounce that? I have no idea.
I think if we just make an effect, effort, we'll be fine.
You want to know what pisses me off? Because I'm using Opera for these, when I look at the Discord, because I have an Opera Discord page open, I'm seeing these icons look real shitty. Like, Dark's profile picture is shit. Acolytes doesn't even look like... It's like a complete difference. Eternal looks like a hammer in frost. I think the stream can pick that up, right? Yeah, the stream can pick up what I'm seeing when they aren't really supposed to look like that. I mean, they're supposed to look like... here, let me put that over so they can, so the stream can actually see. They're not supposed to look like what they... God damn.
Is he coming in for anyone else?
Yeah, he's cutting in a little bit.
Okay, am I cutting out?
Yeah, you were a little bit, but it's gotten better in the last 16 seconds.
Alright, there we go. Let me just move the mic. Alright. So, if we're looking at See You in the Dark, if you guys want to post any more fanfics, I'm not reading the Beware of Chicken, by the way. I know how much you guys want me to, but no, it is not to be. We're reading...
Oh my god, this guy literally wrote author has not read Worm.
Yeah, I know. Notes.
This is already a bad start.
Why are you reading a Worm crossover if you haven't read it? Because reading Worm is like eating maggots.
Yeah, if that was what he said. Oh wait, I've read the first couple of arcs. Never mind, that's fine. That's all you need. Like, read the first arc, and I guess the second one too, if you're really a masochist.
Don't.
That one...
No. Here's how you read Worm. You don't.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm cutting out. How am I cutting out? God damn it. Hold on.
Do you have it detect if you're speaking or push to talk? I find detected speaking doesn't always work too well.
Let me lower down the input sensitivity. Then, let me turn off hardware acceleration. Alright. Psychic power. For instance, hearing other people's thoughts, or seeing what's on the other side of the wall, or even manipulating objects through power of will alone. A power to do what normal people can't. That's what I have. My name is Japanese, and I am an Esper. Q, are you a Chunibyo? No. Why is there QA here? I've lived with this power my whole life. Some of you might be thinking, how lucky! With that kind of power, you could do anything you want. Right? Wrong. Do you know how annoying it is to always be hearing people's thoughts, or constantly seeing through skin and muscle until everyone simply looks like a walking sack of bones? Not to mention, each power comes with its own downsides, too. Read the manga if you want to learn more. In any case, yes, read the manga. In any case, having psychic power has done nothing but inconvenience me since the moment of my birth, and is barely any help in my pursuit of my dream to live a completely ordinary life. Well,
Wow, okay. That doesn't make any sense. It's like, how's he failing?
How are you gonna live an ordinary life when you have psychic power? You might as well just cut your own brain's psychic power off, okay, bro? Easy. That said, thanks to my psychic powers, nothing bad has ever really happened to me. Maybe you're just lucky. So I don't really have anything to complain about. Well, there is the one thing. How did your part of the project go last night? As I haven't brainwashed the people of this world into ignoring me speaking directly to their minds with telepathy, I can only respond through physical gesture. Or by speaking with my actual voice. I don't particularly care to do the latter. I simply nod in greeting. Here, Hebert, take this packet of papers with all my work so you can look over and calm your paranoia about me ruining your grades, and so I don't have to speak. As you may have guessed, the one speaking to me is named Hebert. Taylor Hebert, to be exact. Since this is a story and not a manga or an anime, I'll describe her for you. She's tall for her age, thin, and has long, curly black hair. As for her facial features, she probably has a wide mouth, but I wouldn't know since my x-ray vision is always on, and looking at anyone for longer than a second means I start seeing through their skin down to their muscle and bone. Thanks to that, I've never bothered to memorize people's faces very closely. I can identify them by their thoughts anyways. So why are you complaining about Hebert, you might be asking? Is she a bad school partner? Does she smell bad? Does she have a romantic inclination for you that you can't maneuver your way out of no matter how hard you try? Like a certain blue-haired prefect pretty girl loved by God? None of the above. There's nothing wrong with Hebert herself. Except that she shoots babies, but we'll ignore that. She's capable, diligent, and introverted, which suits a shy and withdrawn student like me. No, the problem is the trouble that she comes with. Here they come, right on cue. Hessa's walked by and bumped Hebert just a little bit too hard, almost jostling the papers out of her hands. None of that now. I'll help Hebert keep a hold of them with a little telekinesis. I worked hard on those papers, you know. No knocking them down. Oops, sorry, we didn't see you there, Taylor, says Barnes sweetly. I guess we just didn't notice you with how plain and ugly your clothes are. You know, I think it's easier.
Pretty bad police, not gonna lie.
I think it's easier to ignore people if they are more colorful, in all honesty. Unless they're, like, black in the night. And in which case, yeah, it's pretty easy to ignore them then.
Yeah, unless you're wearing full proper camouflage for your environment, like large colors, is like, oh, that's a thing, I'm gonna ignore that.
People just naturally ignore bright and colorful colors unless it's too bright, you know?
Yeah, because that's supposed to signify poisonousness within the animal kingdom. And
it's not just that; it's just that the mind doesn't like colors. Too colorful things hurt the brain, and so the brain just shuts them out. Brain don't care about you. And there they go, starting up with one insult after another. They're not even very good at insults. Well, carry on a bullying campaign for 1.5 years, and you'll eventually run out of material, I suppose. Let me change my input sensitivity. There we go. It's still quite annoying to hear themselves congratulating themselves for a job well done with each insult, though. Like this with Barnes. Heh, the look on her face. She's totally self-conscious about how she looks now. I wonder if she'll go crying in the bathroom later. That's not something you should be proud of, you know? The level of self-congratulation sure is amazing. Actually, what's more amazing is how shamelessly they bully Hebert right in front of others. I'm right here, you know? Not that I want them to notice me, but it's the principle of the matter. I shifted my seat slightly, which successfully draws her attention from Taylor away from Taylor for a moment. Oh, sorry, whatever, Barnes says. Were we interrupting a moment between you two? Yes, our homework consultation time. Nah, who am I kidding? No one would ever get together with flat chest over here. What's the big deal about the size of someone's chest? One mass of fat and muscles basically the same as another. There's more or less, who cares? You're still working with her on this project? You can do way better than her. Is that so? Certainly I could find a partner with better grades if I wanted, but I don't want good grades. I want the ones that are completely ordinarily average. Standing out.
Wow, that's actually more insulting than anything he could have said here.
Standing out is the opposite of what I want to do. Yeah, honestly.
This is actually him bullying her more effectively than the other three have been doing the entire time.
Well, I mean, breaking someone's sentimental valued flute.
Well, yeah, that's just that was like the best bullying they did, and they did that at the beginning, and then they couldn't
Then they resorted to murder.
Yeah, because that was the only way they could top it.
Although, being partnered with Hebert, I've already failed step 1. What a pain. That's actually incorrect, because Taylor has canonically terrible grades, and she's not canonically the smartest kid in school. Nor is she actually in the upper echelon. That's all just her being, like, egotistical. She's a prideful sort of person.
Yeah, she's like average at best.
Barely above average. And that's because the average are crackheads.
Yeah, there's a significant number of crackheads, and there's a significant number of people who think skinheads are cool. That's bad.
Well, I mean, just because it's bad doesn't make them stupid. It just makes them have terrible ideology.
Yeah. I want to look like a middle-aged old man at the age of 17. Let's go.
Yeah, says Clemens. Haven't you heard how bad her grades are? She never turns anything on time. That's because you steal her things. And she cheats. That's because you frame her after you copy her work. And when she does turn in original work, the quality is so bad she might as well drop out and join the merchants. That's because she has to redo her work after you destroy it. Who has the time to redo everything perfectly second time? Well, that's just her being terrible at remembering anything, which means she would be terrible at school in general.
I mean, yeah, that is true, first of all. These things all do show up in the book, like in the first 2 chapters, which means that you understand everything about the bullying and everything about her like school life in the first 2 chapters, and as such, they never should have shown it again, but they keep doing it.
Essays aren't even 30% of your grade. And
generally.
Also, the crackheads are succeeding. So no, they are clearly not the smartest people in the shed, and they are also succeeding. So if anything, Taylor just sucks at remembering.
Yeah, either Taylor just sucks, or these people are so good at bullying that they have destroyed her grades as well.
They are so good at bullying that they made everything an essay that you take 40 minutes to recreate.
Yeah.
Oh yes, they have that much control over the school curriculum.
Yeah, truly, the power of the words is beyond our wildest comprehension.
Truly, the power of the terrible trio is Scion level, except specifically for the classroom.
They could OTK him just by talking to him for 15 minutes.
Honestly, that would have been funny. Because the terrible trio, unlike Taylor, has experienced bullying. They can bully Scion.
Imagine if they had done that. That would have been the best ending.
Worm AU, but Scion takes the place of Taylor.
I wonder what Kevin Norton said to make Scion. V. Taylor.
No, Kevin Norton. No, Emma Barnes takes the place of Kevin Norton.
Yes.
Look at you, you golden piece of shit. You should go kill yourself after you let your wife die.
It's like, yeah, you're right. Nice. That was easy.
Emma Barnes just looks and goes, how the fuck did I kill the strongest parahuman in the world?
That was easy.
That was surprisingly effective. I guess the predators are the prey. Then Sophia shows out of nowhere and goes, I'm going to drain you. Like a badly written fanfic.
Yeah.
The bullies all seem to think this is very clever, though. I mean, given what they're apparently doing, yeah, it seems incredibly clever. Laughing at Hebert.
Pretty good, not gonna lie.
It seems like a very bullshitted, contrived plan, but
Hey,
if
it
it
works.
works...
Like, I understand the parts of it. Like, you see it happen, where they'll just, like, randomly throw fucking pink lemonade or some crap into her backpack, because she can't use her locker anymore because reasons. And also because that'll destroy all her work, and it looks like shit, so therefore they just throw her the grade by 50 points.
Can I just say that the Taylor bullying is the most unrealistic take on bullying I've ever seen in fanfiction?
Yeah.
I'm saying fan fiction because let's be real, Worm is basically fan fiction of superheroes.
That is true. Where were we actually?
Hebert has lowered her head. It's only natural to be worn down after months of this treatment, I suppose. Damn it, why did they have to do this in front of Saiki? Now I'll need another partner, too. Now I'll lose another partner, too. Can't have one class without having to worry about them. Doesn't really make a difference if they do it here or in another classroom, Hebert. I can still hear it with my telepathy. Why can you hear telepathy? Why can you hear people's minds? They don't produce sound. Their thoughts aren't sound-based. Wouldn't it just be mental? The bullying case is even worse than Akechi's. At least Akechi had acquaintances who would help him in the aftermath, but no one steps up to help Hebert. That's because she locks it away and the only people in school are crackheads and skinheads and Greg. The only reason people outside, the dock workers and shit, don't help Hebert is because, 1, she doesn't tell anyone. 2,
no one wants to help her.
No, 2, her name sounds Jewish. If she just cleared that up and told them, like, hey, I'm not Jewish. I'm actually somewhat of a white supremacist. I shoot babies. They would have been like,
instantly leader. She'd be the leader of the small group.
They would have been like...
Alright, wait, apparently, I checked the chat. He hears the sounds in his mind because that's how the telepathy works in the series. It's like, okay.
Okay. You kill babies. Say no more. Who's the bitch you want to kill?
We got you.
Where we have your back. White supremacist. Fellow.
It doesn't really make much sense that Sophia gets away with as much as she does, supposedly how Winslow is. It's like, you'd think with half the stuff she does...
She would have gotten her ass kicked by E88's activists, let's be real here.
Well, yeah, because
going around with a shot of David on her clothes all the time or something like that. I don't think they would ever believe her about that.
No Nazi would ever care about a black woman's feelings, let's be real, unless that Nazi happens to be black themselves, in which case they're being a Nazi for the blacks, not the whites.
Okay.
Yes, I've seen people like that. It's a cab driver on YouTube. Hey, it's rude to ignore people when they're talking to you, says Barnes. Oh, that's right, they're waiting for a response from me. Why did you have to drag me into this? Well, says Barnes, what do you think? as she has her hand on
Wait,
her
they
head.
made actual art for this? What?
Oh my god. Bruh.
I like how he looks like he doesn't give a shit, and they're not making fun of him for having stupid things in his hair.
Yeah, that seems unrealistic.
Come on, make fun of him for that. Do it.
I mean, honestly, a whole lot of this just makes unrealistic sense. I mean, if he has these powers since he was born, well, okay, why didn't he particularly, when he was a young kid and would have trusted authority unquestionably, join the Protectorate?
Yeah, this is a Wormverse version, so
No idea. I think it's because
now that
he
it's
like.
come to this, I have no choice but to respond. What should I do? Talk to her? I'd rather not make my first spoken words in this story to be someone like her. Ignore her? This guy
Okay, yeah, I checked. It's because the guy teleported to this universe. Okay.
If this guy is ticking me off, if he keeps ignoring me, I'll have to explain to him properly how it works around here. That's just trouble. How annoying. With those two options off the table, you've left me with no choice but to show you the power of an Esper, Barnes. You brought this on yourself. Hey, she's talking to you, Hess says menacingly, stepping up to me and grabbing me by the collar of my shirt, even though would literally never happen in any universe, because you're in a classroom? Or do you want to end up on the shit list like Hebert here?
What? The cheat list?
Notice these people in the background?
They're just ignoring it because everyone understands that Barnes is just weird. She's a weirdo.
See, so you want to pick a fight with me?
Consequences. They come.
I'm gonna be real. So far, it's just a worse Mob Psycho 100. Then you'd better be prepared for the consequences. Hess flinches for a second before gripping my shit harder. Why would she flinch? You don't even look menacing. You have alien things on your head. Antenna. What's with that look? She says lowly. What was that? Usually he just sits there passively with a blank expression. I don't consider this a blank expression. I consider this just glaring at somebody. He doesn't respond to anything. He's totally prey. He's basically air. For a second there, I could have sworn, don't bother with him, Clemens says disdainfully. I mean, if he doesn't want to stalk, he's pretty much declared where he stands, right? She smiles. Next to her, Barnes holds the papers I worked so hard on last night. She makes direct eye contact with me as she rips into ads. I have the feeling I'm supposed to be hurt by this action somehow, but this level of harassment is so petty, it's just sad. That'll show you not to mess with me, so hurry up and change your expression already. She follows my gaze to the doorway behind her. There stands Mr. Prescott. Who? Is this our new teacher? Looking at the shredded paper on the desk. That's right. Behold the revenge of an Esper. Miss Barnes.
They're doing a different classroom for once? Impossible.
Says Mr. Prescott. Care to explain? I'm like 90% sure all the classes Taylor's in, we actually hear her somewhat talk about them. I've never heard of a Mr. Prescott.
This guy must just have been murdered. I don't know.
He was murdered before the story began.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Sophia Hess killed him.
Wait, hold on. I read ahead a little bit. How does this one random teacher know that this is Shadowstalker?
He shouldn't.
No one should know that.
Except the
I don't
principal.
understand.
The vice principal and principal should be the only ones who know it. Damn it, it's Shadowstalker and her friends. I can't turn a blind eye to this, but if I'm too hard on her, we'll lose the PRT funding.
Wait, the PRT's funding this? What? And they still let it be such a shithole? Really? That doesn't make sense.
Most people think that the PRT sends money to Winslow, but I think the most they do is give Sophia money. The PRT can't really hide sending funding to an entire school.
Yeah, unless they're sending funding to like every school, and it's just some of them have more than others.
Yeah, and in which case they won't stop funding a shithole. They'll in fact fund more into a shithole to make it better.
Yeah, I don't get this guy. Like, why does he care so much about the funding anyway? It's not really gonna affect his,
Why does he even know the funding? He's a fucking teacher.
Dude,
He's
I'm
not
so
the
confused.
superintendent.
Is Mr. Prescott the superintendent?
Oh my god. Wait, if he's a superintendent, why does he care about the funding? All he has to do is send it up to the Board of Education, then send it to the PRT. They'll take his word over Shadowstalkers 100% of the time. He's a superintendent, if so.
I'm so confused as to who Mr. Prescott actually is.
Oh, Mr. Prescott, Barnes says sweetly. We were just messing around between friends. Sorry, it looks a little compromising, huh? Mr. Prescott's gaze travels to where Hess is still holding my shirt. Meanwhile, these rejects in the background who are shadow characters.
What is this, Ruby?
I don't know. Hess lets go and quickly straightens up. Yes, Mr. Prescott says slowly. Well, there's nothing wrong with having fun with your friends, but be sure not to disrupt class. Everyone be seated then, the bell is about to ring. Who is he, Mr. Gladly? What the fuck was that?
I'm so confused.
Even Mr. Gladly would have been like, yo, what the fuck?
This happens in the middle of class. Like, they're just bullying her outright, just saying, yeah, we're the worst. No one here is, like, willing to, like, say anything about it. He's like, okay, sure. I'm gonna just pretend I didn't see that. Damn, they must be giving them, like, way too much money.
Yeah, no wonder this guy died. One of the E88 must have been like, whoa, yo, fuck you.
Yo, dude, I gotta help you.
How dare you help that black girl? Screw you. Killed.
Marked for death?
Yeah.
Or maybe it was Oni Lee because he didn't help this clearly Asian person.
Maybe. But I don't think Oni Lee cares.
Probably not.
Oni Lee has brain damage. Even though he's a way better main character than Taylor would ever be. Someone with brain damage is a better character than Taylor. Sure thing, Mr. Prescott, Clement says, and the bullies disperse away from my desk. Why are they all in the same class? Real quick. Because I know how high school works. This ain't how high school works.
Look. I don't know, maybe they changed her schedule.
They intentionally changed their schedule just so they could bully.
Yeah, that's just
I believe it's actually canon that Taylor does share at least one class with all of them, so.
Yeah, but like all of them at once, I don't think actually really is a class to my knowledge.
That would be lunch.
No, I thought Parahuman Studies she had it with all of them.
Mr.
Wait,
Gladly?
so then shouldn't this be Mr. Gladly's?
Look, if this happened in Mr. Gladly's class, he'd probably punch one of them. Let's be real.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
As much as Fannin and Cannon likes to paint him as a little weed, he's not. If anything, he's just a fucking asshole. He's an apathetic asshole, but if you do shit in the middle of his class, he's not gonna go, oh yes, you're just ripping someone's homework right in front of me. Great. You can keep on. I love that PRT funding. He doesn't even know someone's a parahuman in his class. This guy can warp reality. Yeah, well, so far his reality warping sucks ass.
His reality warp so far has been nudging a single thought in a teacher's head to, like, get him to go to class earlier. That's it.
Wow.
Which is not really reality warping. That's probably just telepathy or
class
whatever.
When class was supposed to be started 4 minutes ago. Great reality warping here.
He's not using it that good yet, but like I fair enough. He is pretty lazy.
He's lazy, but at the same time, all of this seems so contrived. It seems like someone else has plot manipulation here. And just decided to screw over this guy's day. At least they gave me an excuse not to do anything. But honestly, if you're gonna do anything, make sure I won't see it. Mr. Prescott, you sure do love that PRT funding, huh? What is with this school? So irresponsible.
I can't see the thing anymore. Oh, there it is.
There. Look, as much as he's lazy, so far the story isn't funny. It's more funny to poke at the little details that make no sense, even if you go, oh, reality warping. That explains it all away. That's just bad writing.
Yeah, I guess his power is bad writing.
What bad luck. Even usually the teacher doesn't get here for a couple minutes more. Who is this guy? This guy should have been fired 4 days ago. Imagine missing your class every day to the point that it's usual for you to miss it for multiple minutes. What are you doing every day? Going to Starbucks?
Do they just start? Does everyone just get to this classroom like 10 minutes early for some reason? I don't understand.
Yeah, personally, I think we should probably, I don't know if we want to call it better. Well, I don't say the sure better is technically the correct term, but I think there's worse stories out there that might be more entertaining to do here.
That would be...
Yeah, because this is just average, not like bad or anything.
It's average, but with bad writing, like every other worm fic.
Yeah, it does the worm things bad, but like the not worm things, those go okay.
Its fourth wall breaking sucks. I mean, literally has a third person, literal authors don't read worm. You're the author. That's in third person. Come on. Also, it's their first post. Well, second post. First story.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't really think you need to say you've never read Worm unless you're saying, oh, I'm going to be completely canon compliant. Make it an AU. You don't have to have read Worm.
I'm going to rewrite Worm, but I've never read it. Let's go.
Honestly, it probably would lead to a better version of Worm.
That would be fucking hilarious. Somebody just completely rewrites Worm with no knowledge of Worm.
You just told character names and powers like every once in a while. Every 20 chapters, they learn of a new character.
Every 4 seconds, they learn of a new character, all their personality traits, and they could just edit it however they see fit.
Yeah, they're just given a list of character traits and powers, nothing else.
Their first characters, Endbringers.
Yeah.
So the first 5 chapters are just the 3 Endbringers, and then Kansu just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's just the Endbringer War. That's fun.
They all have they all go do a free for all. Kansu and Simmer come out on top because the Simmer can't beat Kansu due to no Tinker Tech, and Kansu can't beat Simmer because precog. Most people could rewrite Worm? Bro, most people can't even write 4 paragraphs. I think you're giving them too much credit.
This is true. I've read a lot. I wish I didn't.
Rewrite Worm and give it a better name, because 4-letter names suck ass. Especially in
Also, this had nothing to do with worms until the very end of the story.
It has nothing to do with Worm until the bank robbery. In which case, it's not even done by the Undersiders. It's done by an actual competent group. Just so
the only worming that occurs is by Scion, and even then Scion only is revealed to be a worm at the very end, so...
And he gets blown up by by Bakuda.
Yeah.
Bakuda's powers just complete counter. Just throw a grenade. Bye-bye, Zion.
Very dead.
Yeah, Worm is pretty bad. You can't even get past 2 paragraphs without cursing the name of Wildbow, alright? You're not going to get past 3 paragraphs without feeling existential dread.
Alright, I'm looking up bad word fanfic.
By the time you reach a page, you've already dropped the story. That's discounting your writing ability, which is going to be like 2 paragraphs every 4 hours. Bravo, bravo. Let me give you a little clap. Have fun rewriting Worm, which is 1.6 million words, right? I forgot how many words it was. A lot of words, okay? No, we read garbage, and then when we read decent garbage. Like Karina Canary. Oi, hola, Sagai, whatever. My name is Karina Canary, Ultimate Sugoi Arrow. I beat up Villas am really real Segoy. Villas know not to mess with me Beckway. O schooler super epic Segoy. I love Karena Canary. Yeah, that's because there's nothing on the screen. I'm just looking at the Discord chat. The portrayal of Saiki is spot on. It's fantastic. Constantly telling everyone to read the manga. Is totally in character for him. Yes. Has anybody actually read the manga? Very little of the people here probably have.
Yeah, I definitely didn't.
I
Only
definitely
two of us
don't.
have. Okay, so Dark Slime and Acolyte have, and I think, or was it Limdolic did? Yeah. So, how actively correct is his characterization?
I have no idea.
I'm asking Chad. Let's find out. It's decent. Okay. Okay. Oh, pretty good. Let's see.
The art is the best part of this, though I can't help but look at Taylor and go, what the fuck is this?
She's very anime, but I can only assume that's because of his powers, right?
No, look at this. This does not look like a human. This doesn't look like Taylor whatsoever. What's with this very narrow inclined chin?
She's got she sharpened it last night.
She has a polygon for a head, dude. And her hair looks like somebody went to Tatsumaki all over her ass. Come on.
Yeah, what the hell is the black thing above her?
I think that's the shard.
Oh, that is. Yeah, I see. I see the short text now.
By the way, look at her writing utensil. This thing is so thin. Her hand
It's
doesn't
wobbling way too much.
her hand doesn't even look regular.
It's a trapezoid.
Her elbow has like been part of it's been removed surgically.
Wait, is she gonna go out today? Wait, then why the fuck is this not like Gladly's class?
Is this parahuman studies?
No, this is when she decides that she's gonna do things. Which means that this has to be that day. No, dude, Psyche isn't the thing that's jarring the story. Everything else about the story that's jarring.
Yes.
Uh,
The
I-
world
I-
building, the Taylor in general, some of the art doesn't even like. I'm gonna be honest. Looking at Sophia Hess, what is this?
Jeez.
The most generic black woman I've ever seen.
I mean, to be fair, isn't that her thing?
No, Sophia Hess is fucking Shadowstalker. I don't think she looks like this.
She did, though. Imagine seeing that walking up.
Imagine if somebody could identify as Shadowstalker by how generic she looked.
I mean, yeah, I get to click doodle. Like, it's pretty good for a doodle. It's good. It's way better than anything I do. It just feels weird that the main subjects of the like of the drawing have less effort put in than Taylor in the background.
The only time I actually enjoyed quick doodles was there's a Cauldron quest story that was that was basically focused on humor.
But yeah,
Wild
I
Bill
get.
has no idea how athletic characters look. That looks like a scrawny black girl. I'm gonna be real.
Oh no, powers are doing bullshit. Clearly, that's where all the athleticism comes from.
The power just gives her athleticism. Damn.
Yeah, it's like a minor trait that no one notices.
She's a brute too.
Brute too, but no one cared enough to check. They just
Damn.
assume that because she was originally actually doing athletics, like that, like it was fine. But because now she's using her powers to do the athletics, her muscles have started atrophying.
Yeah, she looks really garbage. Also, her backpack looks bigger than she is.
What the? I don't think this terrible school requires that much stuff. Not gonna lie.
I'm surprised it even has a shirt.
Yeah, it has a shirt that's like possibly where most of the money in the school went.
Also, she can just wear jogging shorts wherever she goes. Great school. She looks terrible. Her fashion sense is garbage. Are those earrings?
Where she's about to go running? What? Okay, okay. At this point, we're just kind of making fun of
What's this black part of her shirt? Is she wearing an underbody suit? What is this?
I think that's an undershirt. I think. Yeah, it's an undershirt.
Is that for protection or something? What's the point?
I don't know, but it's a thing that runners do, so it's not like without precedent.
She's in Winslow. I'm surprised she even has enough to afford that and nobody's looking at her questioningly.
Yeah, I guess that is kind of weird. Not gonna lie. I mean, maybe she makes money at the protectorate. I don't know. I don't fucking know how the wards. I don't even think the wards get paid until the end.
They
They get paid after the fact.
They get paid when they join the protectorate. They also get paid if they're a tinker or if they need a quick buck. For something important.
I don't think that's important.
It's not.
Oh, hey, look, I thought apparently Acolyte says it's aerodynamics and stuff.
That.
Alright, that makes sense. I believe you on that.
Yeah, but if you want pure aerodynamic, just wear a full graphene suit. Come on, bro. What you doing?
Come on. Go max out your power.
Go completely skin tight. What are you? You can't do things by halves.
Alright, let's get back to the story, actually. Like,
I want a better story to read.
I mean, yeah, it's not like overly bad, and it's not overly good. So that makes it kind of weird.
Yeah, but the shirt hurts your aerodynamic. You might as well get rid of it. It's not helping.
Get rid of the Winslow Athletics one. Like, it's clearly holding her back more than the other shirt.
So is the backpack.
Yeah. She's also not running. True, I guess.
You never know. You might have to start running at any moment. The lungs right there. You never know.
You never know. You never know when Contessa will just try to kill you.
You gotta start running as soon as possible. Ditch everything. Who is that character with the ponytail?
Wait, hold on. Why was this linked exactly? Oh, this is from later on. Okay, thank you for giving me a quick comic doodle.
That's Tattletale? When did she have a ponytail?
I don't know, maybe she just put it up in this one instance.
Well, it works at making me not identify her. She doesn't look like Tattletale whatso-fucking-ever.
That's about all it did. Thanks.
Most I can tell is she's blonde. And Taylor happens to know her. Too strong of a mental image for Tattletale?
Isn't it like a good thing if you have a strong mental image of a character?
This is like the image most
like, the art's
people
pretty
have
good, not gonna lie. That's pretty good art.
Most people have for Tattletale that I've seen for art.
Yeah, like most people generally agree it's like hair down. Like I've never seen ponytail, but on the other hand, I don't hate it. This is fine.
I do. I would only see that in Ward. She's too much of a shit to actually wear a ponytail in Worm.
that's true. It's not anime. It's not anime. She can change her hairstyle, guys. We figured it out.
You know, why does anime not change their hairstyle enough? Why can't
Because
you
they
be
want you
Dan
to
TDM?
recognize the character, I think. And there's a jazz player here now. Oh, cost money. Yeah, that makes sense. I forgot that you have to pay money to animate stuff. All right, just get back to the story. We've stopped doing it for too long.
I need a better story. I don't want to read this more. All I'm hearing is Mr. Prescott asking Mrs. Barnes to explain because she's a dumbass and does it in the middle of class. The most obvious thing ever.
Bully better. I can't believe I had to say bully people better.
I can't believe they were so good at bullying they were able to make Taylor incapable of remembering anything, but now they're just sucking so hard at it.
Yeah, it did. It really did have that big hair budget though.
Meanwhile, Ruby can change their hairstyle every season.
I mean, that's because they're using 3D animation and like models, so I guess it's probably easier, maybe. I don't know. So we were at a where he was using his telepathy to like nudge Prescott further to doing the things.
Typical how we. Let's say he doesn't even flinch. It's like he knew Mr. Prescott was coming. There goes Hess speculating about me again.
Wait, how have you been so obvious to where Hess is like, yep, definitely something wrong with him?
I don't know.
If only we had started earlier in the story and not just in this random scene. But, I mean, eh.
If only we had context clues.
Context.
He doesn't hide it too much. Isn't he supposed to be wearing a I'm forgetting the word. Deadpan? A deadpan expression? How do you notice anything? Not even Tattletale would notice.
This is just so normal. He's like not caring. No efforts put in, I don't. Okay. I'm just checking. Apparently he tried at the beginning and then just kind of stopped caring. Oh, that's in the original storyline where I guess like he tried hiding it and then just eventually half the class figured it out. At this point, he's just like, you know what, fuck it, I don't care anymore.
I don't care about life.
Alright, we're gonna look for something new. Let's see.
Mind wipe them.
This is too good and also too not bad.
Orderly. Let's take a good look at Orderly.
I don't know what that is, but it's probably bad.
It's superhero. Orderly. Swarm. Semi-SI. Soft AU. A patron has decided the Wormverse is rather depressing and took steps to remedy the situation by sending in a champion to fix everything. Pity they didn't think to ask for consent or check to see that their unwilling champion had so much as heard of the Wormverse, but that's why.
Oh shit, an SI without meta knowledge?
Infinitely.
This might actually be good.
Real quick, why does anyone go, oh, these nearly omnipotent beings need to ask for consent? No, they don't. They don't care about you. They're far more power. Power makes right in their mind. And for them, it is true. It is literally true. Not so much you can social foo with these guys, okay? When you're a god, why are you social fooing God? That might explain the oddities with the letter now that I think about it. Or maybe not. That letter is really weird. If you are a godlike entity, you are not moral. You are a godlike entity. Morals do
Wait,
not
hold.
matter.
The warning says warning may contain seriousness.
Okay.
Wow.
What's stopping them from being moral? The fact that they literally can't actually, experience things like you do. When they see morality, they see a child's game. They are above it in all instances. When you are so much more powerful than them, it doesn't matter. Avatars. Have you seen Zion? Zion was literally like, oh yes, I love killing. With only like 2 sentences from Jack Slash. And he was like, oh yeah, maybe you're right. Let me erase all of the UK real quick.
Let me check. Did that make me feel better?
Yes.
I guess it did. Alright, I'll keep going.
Fun. I love it.
I love this. Let's do more. I like blowing shit up. No, I mean
Zion is not a sapient. What are you talking about? Yes, he is. All entities are sapient by default.
They have to, like.
Jesus, bro. Acolyte, you really not given much reason to agree with you. Mostly because you're wrong. If you've looked at the Bible, that's what being a powerful entity beyond everything else is. You don't give a single flying shit about your people as long as they follow your goals.
Hey, do these things. I've decided what morality is. Do it, or else.
Also, I know the devil was like in a competition killing your family. Who cares? You're my follower, after all. You believed in me. When you are a higher being conceptually and metaphysically and even physically, usually you don't see things the same thing as a human would. You are, in all honesty, alien. Even Heracles was like that. Heracles wasn't human when it mattered. He was a murdering, psychopathic, at times rage-induced guy who just didn't see things normally. Most people who are at that level just don't. When you have so much power, you lose your morality. You're not Spider-Man.
Nah, you need power equivalent to, like... Oh, yeah, no, we should read it, you're right.
Read and enjoy the mandatory reports of poor, unfortunate Jacqueline Collier, as well as the certain observations the status of various individuals affected by her actions. Or don't, it's your life and you can do what you want with it. Be free, do as thou wilt. Do something awesome. I dislike this paragraph entirely.
Bad.
So, Orderly also has a TV tropes page. Oh yes, let's read that.
Let's check this. Why? Is it this is the one time where like we have an essay where they don't, have meta knowledge?
Orderly's a worm fanfiction by Obscura of the House of Moon and Star. What a mouthful.
This reminds me of like one of the old reviewers on YouTube, and that's about it. That's the only thing I can think about.
The unnamed narrator was just minding her own business when the patron contacted them by letter, attached to a blunt arrow, which hit her right between the eyes. After hitting the letter, being congratulated on the honor, and in no way agreeing of getting consent to anything, the narrator finds herself merged with a girl on Earthbet at Winslow High School right in the middle of the very first chapter of Worm. None of which is familiar to them in the slightest, although the letter writer seemed to think it would be otherwise. The newly forged Jacqueline Collier, being a decent person, steps into things. Despite the silly-sounding premise and opening, Orderly is not a purely comedic story containing large amounts of problems, both personal and otherwise, as well as a rather serious plot. Jacqueline Collier has rather serious problems coming from both of her previous selves and the merger itself, and starting by the 6th chapter, it shows, quote-unquote. Orderly can be found at link.
This is the worst TV tropes page I've ever read.
Tropes found in this fanfiction. Conveniently unverifiable cover story. Death of personality. Hurt/comfort fic. Somewhat.
That's it, no context.
Trans nature. Both the original Jacqueline and the name are trans woman and had already separately transitioned before the story started. Question, how isn't this person dead in Worm already?
Apparently there is a tinker who specializes in transitioning people.
That guy would have died dozens of days ago.
I don't know why that's a shard. I don't get it.
It wouldn't be a shard. There would be no shard.
It's so random. I don't see how this helps.
Who specializes in transitions. Oh, yes.
It's a weird ability. I'm just confused by the randomness of that power. I
power-
guess, but it just says it he specializes in it, and my brain can only that's his specialty.
Oh yes, I'm Bonesaw, except 4,000 times weaker.
You know, I get what you're thinking, but the way I read that, I just immediately think that's his only power.
Officer Hess is a completed worm fanfic that takes an alternate reality that runs off buddy cop logic. One titular character, Officer Hess, is a badass ass kicker with anger issues. Officer Hebert's a sharpshooting hacker on the hunt for the truth. Together they fight crime.
Sounds dumb. Are we just looking at the...
Naturally, they don't get along with each other. As an affectionate parody, many of the tropes below are inherent to the genre. Unmarked spoilers below.
There's only one.
Armor
There's
is
only
useless.
one.
Averted. It is specifically noted by
That's it.
would have done without
Aren't hated to the genre. That's the only trope, though. Okay. Okay. All right. I don't think.
What sounds really shoehorned in? Orderly in general sounds shoehorned in, and I don't want to read it because of that. Officer Hess just sounds funny. As art.
I think this is a one shot. I think this is like a one shot. I hope it's good.
Yeah, the trans tinker makes no sense in general, and also would never exist in Worms simply because they would have died.
I mean, it depends on where they live, like, for all you know.
If they live anywhere in America, they would have gotten assassinated. If they live anywhere in Germany, Gesselcraft exists. CUI wouldn't want them. They have a useless tinker power, and also they wouldn't be allowed to do their doctoring because NEPA 5. He could be an elite. The elite wouldn't want him. Why would they?
I don't know, maybe because the rich and famous want to transition. That's about it. That's the only logical explanation for that.
But they don't. It wouldn't.
Oh, it makes them.
How would I
don't think that. Wait, does that mean that their transition, like with, like, you know, slowly over time, require a tune-up? I have questions.
They're wasting money by handing this doctor money that for resources he's not going to be able to use.
My only thought,
Oh yes, I want to be discriminated against. Thank you, doctor, for giving me the power to be discriminated against. Thank you very much. They get money for doing surgery on people that surgery that specifically people would buy. This is a world where nothing... They're not going to buy transitioning from white to black, from female to male, because nobody wants that in Worm. They would get bullied to hell. And not just that, they would get murdered by the thousands.
You trigger considering that it's canonical that the more marginalized your group, the more powerful and more likely it is you get parahumans. So, like, it makes sense on some degree that there is someone who has this ability. It's just that they sound like a tinker who should be from, like, Aleph, where everyone who is just below average should be.
Most people who just add any LGBT aspect in general just kind of hurt the story. I mean, because they certainly start focusing on it, or they put it in the first chapter and focus on it. Discrimination happens. Look, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying this is just discrimination they're going to face. They're going to face straight up murder and assassination. This is a world where neo-Nazis somehow have a group large enough and that Fanon paints them as fucking unstoppable. In real life, that those groups don't really get that large. In Worm, it's basically the 1980s.
Nah, it's like
The
70s.
60s. 70s were rather fine.
Yeah, like I do realistically see that it's a chance.
A single town in America. A single town with power over most of the coast. Those neo-Nazis have far-reaching power. It's not just them. The E88 isn't one group.
Like, I can still realistically see that this person exists. It's just it's weird.
There's multiple groups other than the E88 that exist that are practicing neo-Nazis and still assassinate people. There's a Rune comes from one of them. Othala comes from one of them. The Gesselkraft is known to reach out.
Yeah, the clans, man. I'm surprised that they don't have a K in there.
A few families.
Well, yeah, but they have capes in the families. That makes them kind of strong.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a lot more than them too. It's not like the E88 is the only neo-Nazi organization in all of America. Nor is it one of the very few of them, because there's probably a dozen of them. If one of them can get big, a dozen more are going to get big. Then we have the Slaughterhouse 9 just making most cities just completely beg on their knees. But though the Slaughterhouse 9 mostly focused on the left side of the United States, so left of Kansas, they did appear right of Kansas, and they got big not because of Gesselkraft. They got big simply because they had a lot of neo-Nazis. Neo-Nazis existed, and they were big. Gesselkraft did not send 1,000 people to the E88 when they were setting up and went, hey, here's some manpower. Now you owe me a favor. They don't have that resource to send. They don't want to send that bullshit. The E88 contacted Gesselkraft, not the other way around. In a city as large as Brockton Bay, I highly doubt that there are not 1,000 people in E88. Brockton Bay is a port city, so it should have a lot of people. And the gang is a massive problem, even discounting its parahumans. If it had less than 1,000 people, they would have gotten knocked out by the parahumans in the city. 1,000 people is still not more than 10% of the city, nor is it 3%. People with sympathies go into the gang. This is Worm. You think real life gangs are gonna be comparable? These people have superpowers. They're run by a guy with metal manipulation. It's not just like 200 people in this gang. Superpower do change social demographics. Not all gang members get paid by the upper echelons. Nor do most of them probably even get paid for it. Yeah, benefits and shit. They're run by a pharmaceutical. A guy who has very much financial power. Who also runs a dozen dog fighting rings and has Hook Wolf take care of them. Who also has 100 people just robbing shit from the Asians. And Coil, sometimes. Usually they fail those. Kaiser also breaks metal. Like, he can sell metal. Easy money. Then there's Victor, who can game the stock market. Easy money.
And just a reminder that like every more marginalized community will be getting more capes than the others, which makes no sense considering how the 88 have the most capes in the city somehow.
Yeah, they have like 13.
Yeah, but like it doesn't make sense with how they explain triggering to work. But whatever.
Well, I mean, they also said that the CUI and Gesselcraft both have their own ways of triggering parahumans, and that the merchants apparently did better than both of them.
Imagine losing to a crackhead.
Imagine losing to a guy who wears underwear over his head. How? How? That's just disappointing.
Alright, let's find a different one.
This updated. I haven't read that. I haven't read the newest chapter on that yet. Hirsch, whatever, Taylor, Hunkai. What is this?
Wait, can we sort by reverse rating?
Hammering Nails Perkless by Dark.
Oh yes, I'm the worst, guys. Let's go.
Hey, Dark.
I did it.
Hey, Dark. You know your story here, right? Let's read it.
Let's do it.
9 to 13 hours in a couple, 2 to 5 minutes, based on dexterity and stuff. Only applicable in high precision work. How I look at this. Look at this eye. You see what's wrong with this, Dark?
I do. I wrote it like a year back.
How is this 0 rating and you wrote this year back in June? 1K words.
I guess because there's like 0 likes on it, I guess. Maybe that must be why.
1K words equals a roll in 100 CP, bro. You should make it 3K words equals 100 CP. Or something like that.
Yeah, let's see. I actually let me pull it up. I haven't looked at it in a while. Considering I don't actually care about that one because it's just the perk list and nothing else.
All right, let's read the.
Wait, actually, let me look at myself on Born Story Search. I want to know how bad I'm doing.
Prophecy of the Observer, Fate Grand Order. 310 words. Also, here's a prophecy / vague summary of the Lost Belt and foes for Fujimura Ritsuka. How's this in Worm? O great savior of humanity, here are thy enemies that you shall face. The superior mirror of thyself with the last royal
120.
frozen dynasty of the forsaken beasts who only know survival. A lonely Valkyrie of isolation with the rage of a primordial Surtur or whatever, imprisoned in the greatest hero of Germanic myth.
Why are there so many zeros? Jesus Christ, I'm looking at this.
In a world of frozen demise, the bloodsucker who lived for love with one of our only friends in the realm where man lost the forbidden fruit, the kind kinslaying Tengu of mountain with epic berserker of India, in a once peaceful, forsaken world that can now never know sadness or despair due to the madness of the imperfect divinity.
There are so many things here that are at 0 that are actual stories, and they're just mine at the very beginning.
Alright.
That's pretty sad, not gonna lie.
Somebody's PM'd me. Hold on. And there we go. Observing Balance trial version has 0 words.
What?
Let's check this out.
Wait, that has words.
Yeah, these are words. Wait, this isn't even a thread mark.
We did it.
Look, they did it. They have no words. Alright. Jeff the Killer. No, this one doesn't have words either. Is Horizon Zero Dawn? That's actually an interesting thing. The forum description says that you can post ideas for stories here too.
Oh,
Bruh.
it's just an idea and it's not actually a story. I guess it's 0.
Bruh. Square up at.
Wait, guys, can we try to find the Rock and Celestial Forge reference? Let's see how highly rated that is.
Probably higher than these.
Most likely, it's got to have at least 1 rating, right? I'm trying to find out which page do we start getting ratings of higher than 0. Just for reference.
A commission for Taylor Biebert on Tumblr featuring a throwdown between her OC Nightcrawler and my OC Matador.
No wonder that has a low rating.
Yeah, it isn't even focused on Worm.
How is this here?
Fracture, Jeff the Killer, Worm.
That sounds interesting, but like, you know. So far, it's 69
Until Jeff's junior
to get to a rating.
Everything appeared to be perfectly fine. However, following a move from a sleepy suburb in Kansas, oh no, Jeff is forced to confront horrors beyond the deepest pit of his imagination. Liu Kang, hold on, Liu.
Lou, what are you doing here?
Lou, at some point considered his life.
I found where it starts getting ratings of 1. It's on page 87, which means that like 80s at page 87 out of like in the middle of page 87, not even the start of page 87. So 88 out of 642 is where we start getting stories that actually have a rating.
Lou had at some point considered his life to be alright. When their family embarks from Kansas and towards a new city, he watches the world change right before his very eyes. Desperately, he attempts to save his brother, even as he himself descends into madness. Is this a Mortal Kombat movie? Who's Lou? Because I know for sure that's not how it's spelled in the original Jeff the Killer. I didn't know Jeff's brother was Chinese. Is that the last box? Is that the last box? Jeff's dad asked. As he put on an old baseball cap in and carefully put the tape over. Yeah, Dad, Jeff replied, sullen. It was his last day in Kansas before the big move. Not even a city in Kansas, just Kansas. It's the last day. Like, is it in Salino, Wichita, Dodge City, Topeka?
It's just Kansas, okay?
Kansas City? Missouri?
No. No, it's just the town of Kansas. Clearly.
Manhattan, Kansas?
Paris, Kansas?
Manhattan, Kansas is an actual city, I think. I know there's a place in Kansas that's Manhattan, but I'm not sure if it's a city or an area.
Oh, you got the thing? Thanks, man.
Yeah, David, get off of that.
Oh, I need to get her more.
David, off of that.
Before the big move, he had friends here he'd be forced to leave behind, some that he'd likely never have the chance to see again. Hey, don't look so down. I'm sure there'll be plenty of people you can meet where we're going. I've heard there's some really nice kids that's gonna be in our neighborhood. Jeff didn't reply as I skipped past all this dialogue. Where's the killing? Lou was showing me a secret mystery he found in one of the rooms we're not using. Yeah, a little wallpaper has a tear, and I was telling Jeff about a secret door. His brother lied with the same practice ease. His father chuckled. Lou displayed his winning, and for the slightest moment, Jeff forgot everything. Jake just hurts Jeff for no reason. Hmm. Jeff encounters a master. End of story. Okay, interesting. Jeff the Killer. Whatever. Wormhole people. Wait, there's a first page that we missed. Toolbelt Worm the Celestial Forge today. Taylor kills Armeister. No words, just Taylor kills Armeister. Removed for plagiarism. Yo, somebody copied it all. I'd actually done some. Emma was too until Focus Taylor. Recent calling. The recent academic was started by Earth Aleph rogue villain calling himself the Meme Lord, almost as mature as his name might imply. Meme Lord was capable of creating what the PRT was calling visual mediums and part whatever. He makes memes that weakly mind control people. What? No wonder this guy got cut for plagiarism. All of it's copied. Taylor kills Armeister. What a great fic. Alright. Let's look for more. A 25-word Gilgamesh versus Scion question. This isn't even a story. Would Gilzia be able to kill Scion? Yes. Truth beats. Truth tears apart the dimensions that Scion has locked. This is a sort of question to be asked in the Versus subforum. Why is this in stories? Hellbent. 1K words. Classical Chinese worm fan poem. Greg Veeder, The Pale Green Knight in The Last Blue Star Warrior sequel by Green Lantern. And then there's their story, The Last Blue Star by Green Lantern for 10K words. Thoughts about Contessa's powers. Words, 0. Mix up Worms San Diego. Wow, who's this Russian guy who just came in on my YouTube channel, started posting links? Paris City, original characters, Alpha. The ghost we find along the way. Buffer, translation of a Russian fantasy novel. Short Arms Master Squealer. Let's look at that. For want of some nails, short arms master / squealer. Worst worm fic I've ever read? My New World Worm. Hold on, I'm gonna actually have to. Let's search for it. Let's go for. Trying to find it. It's not here. I don't see it. My new. I'm gonna search for. Okay, I'm just gonna look for the author. Oh, hey. Hammering nails. I found your story, Dark. The reference is 30. Mad artist. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be here. Well, if I wanted to say the worst fanfic in general, it'd be Karana Kanari. Actually, best worm fanfic. Well, best fanfic. It's not a worm fanfic. Alright, for want of some nails, an Armsmaster / Squealer fanfic. Oh yeah. The camera caught Colin stood stiffly in his workshop, arms folded, staring at the monitor. If you knew him well enough to like him, to be familiar with his face, you could see the repressed hint of disgust and frustration on his face as the prisoner slapped and spat at the walls of her cell. Squealer had been picked up by the BPPD. Literally. They'd collected her shivering, shaken, and bruised from inside an upmarket manicurist on the boardwalk. They'd called the police on her after declining to serve her, at which point she'd aggressively refused to leave the store, collapsing across a reception desk. The police quickly recognized her for who she was during her delirium-added mumbling from the back seat, and from that point she was raced to a protector holding cell to sober up. Colin's not-quite sneer was a surprise. Anyone that knew him, or at least knew the reputation of Armsmaster, could understand how a dedicated perfectionist, and especially one with a tinker focus on efficiency and miniaturization, would recoil in horror at the ramshackle monstrosities that Squealer, Cheryl Bailey, managed to bash together. His frustration was compounded further by the fact that somehow these slapdash contractions allowed Squealer to escape Colin time and time again. Cheryl, sweat-stained and sore, lay awkwardly on the cell bed, legs up, arms out like some fallen scarecrow in dirty rags, hobo mumbling to herself, eyes staring out beyond the cell walls, fingers stretching and twitching. As a tinker, her cell was empty of everything except for a hard rubber mattress. Not even bed sheets could be allowed in the climate-controlled room, where she'd rip strips and holes out of her thin prisoner jumpsuit. Even those leftover scraps were removed from the guards. I don't think they do that to a prisoner that's just a tinker, unless that tinker has anything to do with said scraps of clothing, which most tinkers can't. And what was left Barry clevered her, which was her preferred style of dress. Wow. Her haze was broken by the sharp crackle. Adios, acolyte. Her haze was broken by the sharp crackle of the PA system, and she lurched to her feet as Cullen's deep voice filled the cell, thick with barely concealed disdain. Squealer, I have been told that you would cooperate only if you could speak to a PRT tinker. I am Armsmaster. Will you now cooperate? Shit, they gave me the most puckered asshole. Wait, she shouts as the speaker crackles. Don't go, I said I cooperate. You fucks. The loudspeaker crackles again. Squealer, cooperation will include a cease to all hostility, including verbal. Any deviation from this will be taken as evidence of non-cooperation. One last time, will you cooperate? Is Dark here? Look at me! Cheryl puts one arm out like she's being half crucified, hand shaking. The other hand sits above her half-closed eyes. Clasp her further like, well, just look at me. What else can I do? She sits heavily on the mattress, knees up to her chin. I'll cooperate. I'll try, but you have to help me, please. You know what it's like. It's cruel to keep me like this. I'm falling to pieces here. We cannot and will not give you drugs. No, I know that. Of course I know that. I'm not stupid, but I don't mean drugs like street drugs. There's no way you'd give me anything fun like that. Just the boring tinker stuff you use, no? That must be okay, right? I'm a tinker, you're a tinker. We understand these things. I do not use drugs. Cheryl tries to shout more, but Armsmaster bullies on through. There are no... Squealer, if you continue to try and interrupt me, this meeting will end. As I was saying, there are no drug tinkers or chemical tinkers in the Brockton Bay protectorate, and we have no need for drugs. That's wrong. That's also incorrect. Cheryl looks up in despair at the only obvious camera in the room. But you must use something. How do you cope otherwise? When that urge hits you to tinker and your brain fills up with shouts and echoes of ideas until your skull is bursting and hurts to see anything else, please. You have to give me something like that. This is torture. The PA system activates, but just hums silently for a few seconds before Colin speaks. Squealer, we just tinker, or note our designs down. Neither Kidwin nor I have what you described. That's just your addictions talking. I'll get you a notepad to write on if that helps. You fucking piece of shit liar. I know you got drugs for this. You must have them. Speaker crackles and falls silent. You shit, you stupid fucking fuckface, fuck the sack. You fuck. She collapses into a corner, sobbing, mumbling to herself. They must have drugs. They must. You can't just tinker them away. They're not enough. Those don't do shit, really. Not really. He's a lying asshole. How am I not cringing? I am. Hi, Colin. How are you today? Colin looked up and he smiled for the first time that day. Custom note. Continue default pause loop. What? Dragon. Oh, I always value your time. Shall we look at the new insect killing halberd modification that I sent you plans for? Or do you have something new for us to look at? Something new, actually. Cheryl Bailey. That woman. The merchants believe she with us, but as we didn't announce their capture, they aren't sure. We're holding her for just a few days before ship her out, as standard process for tinkers, but there's no point. If there's anything we could learn, even if she hasn't rejected the data tablet and notepad we provided her for notes. She's a waste of time. I'm not so sure. Check her cell. And the discarded handheld whiteboard, black with dense drawings. Surrounding that, scribbled notes, maze of Daedalian torturous. Her hand jerking and jabbing, clearly fugue-induced. Okay. Cookie Dokinite, Cherylite, Pepsi Cokium, Cookie Dokinite. Expression Scio4 is used. It's just that it was used a lot that month. Cheryl's uneducated, a high school dropout, so I wouldn't expect her notations to meet your standards. Definitely not for a car. I suspect this is only a small part, given the shells we're working out. This is a design for a spaceship. What the fuck? Okay, well, Cheryl just blasted off out of the story. Imperium CYOA V1 for 1.4k words. After this, I'm gonna end the reading because I'm getting lightheaded reading all this shit. God didn't exist, or maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he did. Didn't. Perhaps. Jamie Rink. Oh, hey, it's based on Jamie. Yay, this guy, Nilbog. Stumbled down the great cities of Ellisburg in a blind panic, twitching radically. God existed. God was here. God was Cyan. Cyan kill. Cyan was going to kill them all. Oh, God. Cyan. Death. The form all. Jamie had been made a deal with the devil. Devil, no angel. Cauldron will save us. Cauldron will kill me. Devil, then angelic devil. How beautiful. All his life, he was a nobody, a coward, a loser. If parahumans triggered on their worst days, then Jamie could have triggered a dozen times, and he had triggered. Why hadn't you triggered? Trigger, yes. Trigger, good. No trigger comes from science. I'm bad. He used to be a banker once upon a time, and then he was fired. He used to have an apartment once upon a time, then he was evicted. Then he was nothing. Now he was something. Why didn't he trigger? Why was he not worthy? Jamie thought it was bullshit that a random chance would separate the weak from the strong. That a single bad day could elevate his beer so high that he was left behind. No matter how much he worked out, no matter how much he would never have the physical strength of even the lowest brute. No matter how fast he ran, he would never have the speed of a mover. He would never have the intelligence of a thinker and the technical knowledge of a tinker without warning. Jamie started laughing. Tinker, yes I am. Tinker, bio-tinker. He made a deal with an angelic devil for powers. He wanted to be someone, so when Lady and Fortuna offered him powers for a price. Of course he accepted. a single vial. All he had to do was drink. A teaspoon of sugar makes the medicine go down. And boom, power. Schematics filled his mind. Alien biology filled his every thought. Get out, get out, get out! Leaving me alone. Tears started streaking down Jamie's face as he lightly rested his face on a brick wall, damp from the rain that washed over New York the past few days. He looked. He took in shuddering deep breaths, trying to calm his racing heart. Must keep moving. She could be after me. She's after me, isn't she? Oh God, I'm going to die. We all die. We'll die, 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 die. To Sion, die. To Cauldron, die, die, die. He asked them what the price was before he got the vial. They just smiled at him, reassured him it was nothing bad. Nothing was too great to save humanity. Yeah. Well, it's reading like a schizo, so... Gave an ultimatum, they did. Vial in exchange for a blank check or no powers. He chose the vial, but when the price was listed, no, some things are too great, no. We all deserve to live. I deserve to live. Man deserves to live. He was a biotinker, perhaps the most powerful one alive. His shard came from Eden instead of Zion, and that made a difference. He didn't have the inbuilt limitations of natural triggers. Cauldron wanted him to. No, he wouldn't. He couldn't do that. Marcus swallowed down the bile that wanted to creep up his throat. Marcus? This is Nilbog. This is Jamie Rink, not Marcus. Who the fuck is Marcus? Nearby, a female glanced at him. She was a pretty thing, with hazel-colored eyes and silky blonde hair. On another day, he might have tried to chat with her, or maybe not. He wasn't good with people. On this day, she decided that something was wrong with him, and walked away. Away and away. He wanted to shout out after her, to run up to her and grab her, shake her, and he wanted to tell her that her heroes were false, that they were part of a conspiracy to control the world. He wanted to tell her that God existed, and he wanted her dead. He wanted them all dead. God save us. At the time, he started to pray. Whoa, okay. Whatever that is. God won't help us. God wants us dead. God had been replaced by Zion. Replace God? How absurd. Jesus Christ, what is going on? Yeah, I think that's enough for today. Yeah. My eyes are twitching. I'm so confused. Well, everyone, Mystical Arcane's out.